The Zod 500 presents Canadian Elections of History. The 39th election in Canadian history happened on the 23rd of January 2006, where the incumbent Prime Minister Paul Martin wasn't so popular. New details of the sponsorship scandal, also known as ad scam, which is where Jean Chrétien tried to remove public funding from the Department of Public Works and the government services to private advertising agencies to promote Canada and the federal government at the cultural, community, and sports events in Quebec, was released. And, in fact, on the 28th of November 2005, Paul Martin's government was defeated on a motion of no confidence. But a day later, Martin met with the Governor General to dissolve Parliament, triggering an unusual winter election. Despite this election being one that was just called out of the middle of nowhere, the campaigning for this election was 8 weeks long and was the longest in over 2 decades. Harper started off the first month of the campaign with a policy per day strategy, which included a GST reduction and a child care allowance. The Liberals opted to hold any major announcements until after the Christmas holidays. As a result, Harper dominated media coverage for the first weeks of the campaign and was able to define his platform and insulate it from expected Liberal attacks. On the 27th of December 2005, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police announced that it was investigating allegations that the Liberal Finance Minister, Ralph Goodale's office, had engaged in insider trading before making an important announcement on the taxation of income trusts. The RCMP indicated that they had no evidence of wrongdoing or criminal activity from any party associated with the investigation, including Goodale. However, the story dominated news coverage for the following week and prevented the Liberals from making their key policy announcements, allowing the Conservatives to refocus their previous attacks about corruption within the Liberal Party. The Conservatives soon found themselves leading in the poll, and by early January, they made a breakthrough in Quebec, pushing the Liberals to second place. Despite Paul Martin making Canada the third country in the world to officially legalize same-sex marriage, his legalization of that was not at the top of many voters' minds. In fact, it was, well, of course, the sponsorship scandal. But there were several issues in this election too, notably the fiscal imbalance, the gun registry, abortion, and Quebec sovereigntism. Ipsos had actually carried out an exit poll just before the election, and there was actually some very interesting results here. The Conservatives were winning over the moderates, and they had both the men and the women. Women tend to vote to the left, and men do tend to vote to the right. So the Conservatives having such a wide, maybe not that wide, but a win in women is actually surprising. For marital status, only the single people supported Paul Martin, and that was only by 1%. Catholics and Protestants were the only religious identity group to have said that they were going to vote for Stephen Harper. But all of the religious service attendants in wide margins voted for Stephen Harper. He also won over everyone in the age and age by gender. And for the sexual orientation, Paul Martin was expectedly winning in the LGBTQ. And a quick little note before we actually get into the results. For the second consecutive time, the Green Party had nominated a single candidate in every single one of the 308 ridings in the country. And now, with 64.7% of eligible Canadians voting in this election, which is a 3.8% increase from the last election, the winner of this election would receive a minority government with 124 seats. With 5,374,000 votes, that equates to 36.27% of the popular vote. And despite his claims of wanting to get a majority government, it was Stephen Harper to get the minority. A lot of people were expecting this because it looked very mathematically unlikely that Stephen Harper could even possibly win a majority government.